I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
This is what she learned with her hip-hop degree from Columbia University. This is what our universities are turning out. This is why President Trump has a right to go after them. So Amanda Seales, who, honestly, I was really not all that aware of. She was an actress who starred in the HBO comedy series Insecure, and she's a comedian who did a supposed comedy special called I Be Knowin' in 2019. She was also one of the co-hosts of the syndicated daytime talk show The Real. Now, when I say that higher education churns out folks like Amanda Seales, I mean she graduated from SUNY Purchase and had got a master's degree in African-American studies with a concentration in hip-hop from Columbia University. Hard to think of a more useless degree than that, but somehow she has parlayed that into fame and fortune. At least it hasn't hurt her. It didn't educate her much because she really doesn't know much. So she was on Jubilee. And Jubilee is kind of this fun YouTube channel. I've done it before, where you sit there and then you are surrounded by a bunch of people who disagree with you, and they run in, they disagree with you. You have these kind of little short debates. Some of them are fun, some of them are dumb, some of them are ridiculous. But she did not acquit herself well. She went up against a young man named Matt Nuclear, who is talking about reparations, and she clearly does not know what she is talking about.
You can give everyone here like a $50,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time.
Well, I mean, if you start from the argument that facts do lie, you can't even have a discussion, right? If the argument is that all data are skewed, then you're just going to yell at each other. Because otherwise, how do you even have a common basis, in fact, to have a discussion? This is what she learned with her hip-hop degree from Columbia University. Very, very, by the way, I just comment on the outfit. What happened to the rest of her shirt? She has a collar, but I'm not sure what happened to her shirt. Very weird. The cleaners did a bad job here. In any case, she then continued with this young man. And the question was, is there systemic racism against black people? And again, she just gets owned because she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in.
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe this?
I'm telling the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other, but they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now.
Okay, so literally no response, just bizarre buzzwords in some way. This is what our universities are churning out. This is why President Trump has a right to go after them. Again, the fact that somebody got a subsidized education to get an African-American studies degree at Columbia University, master's, with a specialty in hip-hop, clearly that has not made anybody particularly smarter. We'll get to more on this in just a moment. First, the internet of the 90s promised a democratic virtual world where individuals held the power, not governments or corporations. Well, yeah, that didn't really happen. Big tech dominates our digital lives with companies not just serving ads, but potentially influencing our political choices through controlled content delivery. The original internet promised personal freedom and control over your informational journey. Well, there is a way to reclaim that control and freedom: ExpressVPN. When you browse the internet, your service provider tracks everything you do, building a profile that data brokers sell to advertisers and government agencies. This constant surveillance means we're being watched and manipulated online. With ExpressVPN, my entire online traffic flows through secure encrypted servers, preventing even my internet provider from monitoring my activities. I can browse freely without surveillance. I use ExpressVPN all the time when I'm on the road, when I'm in the office, like really all the time, because you just never know who's monitoring you. Well, I mean, you do if you use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN also masks your IP address, the digital identifier that companies use to track and manipulate your online experience. Simple to use with just one click, ExpressVPN works seamlessly across all your devices, laptops, phones, tablets, even smart TVs. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. Well, what Oklahoma is doing to stop all of this is apparently they're going to test incoming teachers with an America First exam, which I think is just wonderful, actually. Apparently, according to the Washington Post, teachers from New York and California who apply to teach in Oklahoma will now have to answer questions meant to screen out woke indoctrinators with left-wing views. The latest attempt by Oklahoma officials to push the state's education system rightward. The test's 50 questions will cover topics about the United States government, religion, and gender, according to examples shared by the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters. Teachers' unions have criticized the move as a political stunt. It will discourage applicants as Oklahoma faces a teacher shortage. Okay, well, I think that's the goal, is to discourage left-wing applicants. So apparently, Prager University, which of course we have worked closely with, they're great, developed the exam. Apparently, the requirement went into effect over the summer. The test is currently being finalized. So some of the questions are things like, what are the first 3 words of the Constitution? And one of the choices is, in God we trust, which is 4 words. Why is freedom of religion important to America's identity? And then the possible answers are, it makes Christianity the national religion. It bans all forms of public worship. It limits religious teaching in public life. It protects religious choice from government control, right? Like if you can't get these questions, like these are basic factual questions. If you don't get these questions right, you really shouldn't be teaching kids. It's like, what are the 2 parts of U.S. Congress? How many U.S. senators are there? Why do some states have more representatives than others? Right? These are very basic questions. And treating this as some sort of obscene attempt to prevent great blue state teachers from teaching, that's just a lie and really, really silly. And meanwhile, controversy has broken out over President Trump's attempts to rewrite some of the exhibits over at the Smithsonian. Now, remember, the Smithsonian is incredibly left-leaning. We've talked about some of their exhibits before, including exhibits that suggested that it was a part of white culture to be on time and prompt, for example, or to believe that you should pull yourself up by your own bootstraps if you can. Like those things are white culture things. So President Trump put out a statement yesterday that Twitter got very angry at. He said the museums throughout Washington, but all over the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. We are not going to allow this to happen. I've instructed my attorneys to go through the museums and start the exact same process that has been done with colleges and universities, where tremendous progress has been made. This country cannot be woke because woke is broke. We have the hottest country in the world, and we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. Okay, so the thing people are picking out in this statement is where he says how bad slavery was. President Trump is not saying that slavery was good, or it was okay, or not that bad. What he is saying is everything discussed, right? Read the whole sentence. Everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was. He's saying, yeah, we should discuss how bad slavery was, but in the context of a broader American story, including the fact that, for example, America expended hundreds of thousands of lives ending slavery. And the story of America is complex. It has really, really dark areas, obviously. But overall, the story of America is an incredibly good story for the world and for the nation, obviously. And that's the point that President Trump is making. People on the left, of course, are jumping all over him for this, suggesting, oh, it's just terrible. Douglas Brinkley, presidential historian, said, it's the epitome of dumbness to criticize the Smithsonian for dealing with the reality of slavery in America. It's what led to our Civil War and is a defining aspect of our national history. And the Smithsonian deals in a robust way with what slavery was, but it also deals with human rights and civil rights in equal abundance. Now, again, I really do not think that that is what President Trump is trying to do. He's not wiping out the slavery exhibits at the Smithsonian, obviously. But the goal here is, as always for the left, to lie about this sort of stuff and suggest that if you wish to teach American history in a complex, shaded way that upholds the essential goodness of America, then this somehow makes you a racist, somehow makes you terrible in some unspecified way. Well, that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. Be sure to check out all of the other great content on my channel. I'll see you here next time.